Hi, folks, in the Cobb TV studios for our weekly visit with Cobb County Commission Chairman Mike Boyce. And last time we talked, you were finishing up your town halls, and we were also watching on the end of the legislature,
Right.
which has since concluded.
It has.
And one thing I've learned is there's a whole lot that goes on down there that affects us that I don't think a lot of our residents realize.
No, well, it's like everything else in our life. People are really busy, and I hope that they're really busy enjoying their life. We aspire to have a quality of life in Cobb County where everybody can safely work, live, play, and pursue their dreams. And as I said on many occasions, if nobody in this county ever knows who we are up here, that means we're doing our job. It gets tough to get reelected with that kind of a program. But the bottom line is they're here to provide their services so that they can enjoy their life. And unless they're doing something down in the Gold Dome that affects their life, they probably won't see it. One of the couple of things, though, that have been very important this week, and that will come out of the Gold Dome, is they addressed the voting machine issue. And I saw several emails from Jeannie Evler, our Director of Elections, weighing in on some of the things to make sure that what that does come out of there will be something we can work with. And I think she did a great job there. And I'm looking forward to the new machines that come out to see how we can implement those, because there's nothing more important in our process than making sure that we preserve the integrity of the voting system. And I believe that what they did down in the Gold Dome will do that. And they heard the people loud and clear, and it was a pretty quick response on that. And they did this all within the 40 days, which is nothing short of amazing, given how complicated the issue was. The second thing is that obviously last year in House Bill 930, they put a time limit in there. It's one that we would have a referendum involving the special service district, whatever it looked like, and there was no boundaries on that. There were a lot of offered out there, but none of them was voted on. And I made it very clear last year that, look, I appreciate what they're doing, but there's no way I could carry that issue forward and have it done by November of this year, because we still had a lot of things involving the restoration of our county services, particularly the budget. And so they took that back and they reopened up the bill, and they had a timeline in there, but the long story short, they never came out and modified House Bill 930. So that timeline for that special service district, where they're allowed to create that district and vote within that district, that option goes off the table, because here we are in April, and there's just no way I can get something done in time to Janine and get to the public that we could put on the ballot by this November. So that's going to come and go. We're going to have to leave what's out there right now and the rest of House Bill 930 and our other options they give us with House Bill 170 and of course SPLOST to address transit and transportation issues.
Right. There was a lot of confusion about that request for an extension, but that just basically essentially takes one option off the table.
And as I said, there are a lot of options still out there, and most of those options are going to come from the voters, which we're going to hear, as do the public hearings with the comprehensive transportation plan, which starts this month.
Right, and those meetings are coming up, and we'll put a list of the meeting dates up on the screen. We'll also have them on our Facebook and other social media pages for people to look at, as well as cobbcounty.org. But what would you tell people about the importance of those comprehensive transportation plan meetings and how they will be able to weigh in? What kind of input would they have?
Well, they will decide whether or not we do a referendum in 2022. Look, you could leave this in the hands of your 5 commissioners, and that's the most dangerous thing in the world to do, because the reality is that we're elected, but we're not anybody really special. We haven't come up like in the military from the time I was commissioned up to the time I retired. I went to school every couple of years to learn how to do the next level of responsibility. So every time I got promoted, I was ready for that job. Well, when you're an elected official, you don't have that. You're just some person who ran on a campaign on a platform, or the elected voters, okay, we like what you're doing, and they throw you into office. And we do have some courses that we go to under ACCG. But the bottom line is we're no different really than most of the voters out there. So in order for us to do our job right, we need to hear from the voters. We need you to be involved in this system, and we are doing everything we possibly can to fit this into your very busy life schedule, as I said earlier in the program. And these public hearings could not be more important, because this is what starts the process. And I just tell people, look, take a chance on this process. Bring your friends and your family to these public hearings. There's 9 of them over the next, in April and May. And from there, you'll get a sense of what has to happen in the future. And I'll be doing anything I possibly can to put energy behind this process to ensure we get as much voter and resident participation in this process, because from that list, from this effort, are going to come the projects that, if we agree on a referendum, that's what we'll see on the ballot in 2022.
Last week we talked about the Gwinnett referendum, which failed over there, but that was a MARTA expansion.
Sure, right.
Our process, though, is much different than that, and you've been pointing that out. This is not just about MARTA, not just about transit.
No, I keep telling everybody there's one word in my vocabulary from now until November 2022. Transit and transportation is one word. Because in this county, because of the nature of the county, there are different requirements. Some need transit addressing transit issues, some have transportation issues. But since it's going to be a countywide vote now, we have to make sure that we show that whatever the taxpayer gives us in additional funding is something where everybody benefits. And if we do that, and more importantly, do it on a general election day, then I think that we're going to get the desired response we want, which is something that's going to have to move this county forward. But look, I understand that asking for additional money from the taxpayer is always a risk, but I think everyone's pretty well understands, without any kind of additional study, we have to address the traffic problems in this county. They are there, they're numerous, and they're not going to go away. Matter of fact, they're going to get worse because, as Eric Meyer pointed out very clearly down the town halls, this county is going to go to 1 million people, in 30 years. And if we have 750,000 people right now, we can barely get around during rush hour. Imagine what another 250,000 people will do.
And I think a lot of people may think with the CTP hearings, well, these are the experts. They know what's best for us. They know what will work. Yeah. So what would you say to them about why they still need to go and chime in?
Because they're the ones that are going to decide on the projects. All the experts they're going to provide technical advice, but they're not there to make the decisions. Like I tell people, the guy that went to the moon, he was there riding the capsule, but he was the one that built the rocket. So this is a team effort. And as I say in my weekly emails to my email list, it's your government, stay involved. This is one where you really have to make a commitment to both the SPLOST town halls, because we're going to be voting on a SPLOST in 2020, and then in 2022 for the referendum for traffic and transportation. You're the ones that are going to decide the future of this county, and the future is for your children and your grandchildren.
And when we were here last week, you still had a couple town halls left. Mm-hmm. They're all completed now. Right. You had 16 of them, some well-attended, some not so much. Yeah. What do you take out of the entirety of all those town halls?
Well, I think next year I need to do 32. Clearly, I didn't get as many people as I wanted. I think it showed two things. First of all, last year when we raised the millage rate. Let's be very open about that. But the millage rate produced the additional services that the people expected us to provide them. And I think that our method of showing them, of justifying that, worked. So this year, they're seeing the benefit of a combination of the new services they're getting, or the ones that we're restoring, plus the SPLOST projects, plus what we had in general fund. And that allows them to now go out there and enjoy their life. So I'm not really surprised by the fact that we didn't have the turnout we had last year, because the issues weren't the same, except for one issue. And that's increased compensation for public safety. And the beauty of what we did last year is that we are going to now have the means to do that. We're going to be able to address this issue, in a way that's methodical, but involves involvement of the commissioners. We heard from the public, both at the town halls and, more importantly, at the board meeting, at the last meeting in March. So I think all the board members see how important this is. And right now, because this is an iterative process, we're going to readjust some of the priorities that I've been talking about during my town halls, to take some of the, to realign some of the numbers, to address resources to fix, for the moment, this compensation issue. But I hope everybody understands that this issue is going to keep coming back to us, because we're all of us in this region fishing from the same pond of people. And all we're doing is we're going to raise our compensation, our pay for our police officers and deputies and firemen and other people in public safety. And then our neighbors are going to see that, and they're going to raise theirs. And so in 2 years, we're going to be right back to where we are. And there comes a time when, as I spoke to one of the majors the other day, we simply can't pay $100,000 as entry-level employees in this county. The budget won't support it. The bottom line is, this is a very conservative county. I don't care which party you say that you support. Both parties are conservative people. And there comes a time when this is all they're willing to give in taxes. And so I hope that nobody thinks that this is going to be a measure that's going to solve all our problems. It's going to be an interim solution to an existing issue. But I fully expect that in a couple years, we may once again have to address this. But there comes a time when you simply have to decide what it is you want to do with the resources, the pay that we give you.
Right. And all this will kind of be processed between now and the time we adopt the budget later this year.
I'm meeting with all the commissioners and their respective departments in May and in June. And then the last work session in June, we'll have we'll have all the commissioners there, and I'll take present with them this new budget that I've heard from their departments, from the town halls, and let them know what I'll be submitting to them at the end of July, the last meeting in July, when we're going to vote on the millage rate and the budget. And the reason I'm doing that is that I also want to give the public a month to weigh in on this latest version of the budget. So what I proposed during the town halls necessarily is going to change a little bit, because what I heard from the town halls is that, look, we understand all that, but there's some things you need to do also, but we only have one size amount of money. So we're going to have to rearrange some of those numbers on my chart. But I want everybody to know here that I'm fully committed to the pay raise for the employees. I'm fully committed to opening all the libraries on 7 days a week. And that goes, I'm fully committed to getting rid of the senior fees.
All right. Well, there's a lot of moving parts between now and the end of the summer, which is when the budget will be adopted. And we've got transit and transportation, which is all one word now. Right. And so keep following our social media pages. We'll have it all up there. Your newsletter always has that information in it. There's a link on cobbcounty.org where you can sign up for those newsletters as well. And keep following us as we go throughout this next few months. Very important months with all these meetings coming up.
And remember, the Braves are now back at the plate. Go Braves. Let's get out there and support them.
Yeah, even though they beat my Cubs.
Get over it, Ross.
I know, I will. Thanks, Chairman.